Do you have any questions that you could ask to kind of help her go through this one?
No, I mean, we can certainly guide you through and come up with strategies, but this, just to be aware, everyone listening again, this is where a good kind of accountant, CFO type person can really help with that. We can come up with a plan, like say, okay, let's come up with goals that you need this much money in your bank, or you need this many billable hours, or you may even say we need this many billable hours with this many staff, and this is our cancellation rate, right? Like something like this, because you may even want to look at certain KPI as far as like quality of services, so that you can measure them, and then as you grow you can then take a snapshot again to see if you have a noticeable decrease, and then maybe hold on, we need to back up. So there are many things that we can talk about in there, but certainly when you're ready to grow, those would be very important things to have in place before growing. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
I would like to add too that I think it's so smart that you have this on your list at all, because typically people that are within their first year or two, it's not on their radar yet. And so I think that's really smart of you that it's on your radar, that it's something that you need to plan for. And this is your company and this is your priority list. But personally, like, I feel like it would kind of maybe fall under some of these other priorities to make sure you get the base things that you need for your company where it is now. And so that may even be something else, like a prerequisite to start working on. I mean, it's never too soon to plan, right? And have your goals laid out, and like your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year business plan. I get that. But maybe even like, okay, when X, Y, and Z are complete, like when I have my workflow charts and I'm in network with 3 insurances and
we have 6 months of payroll in there.
Exactly. Yeah. At this point, then I will start dedicating time to really looking at my growth plan. Correct. Or something. I don't know. How does that land for you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, having that growth, having a plan for growth is important, right? Like so many, like it's hard as a solo BCBA, you have clients reaching out for services and you want to give them good services, but at the same time, you have a threshold of how many hours can you give, right? When you're doing all the back end stuff and you're also doing all the clinical things. So like, there's a level of pressure that I know I put on myself personally, but there's also a level of pressure like externally from the community of like, okay, when are you gonna be able to handle more? When are you gonna have staff? How many hours can I have for services and those kinds of things? And so like right now I'm kind of in this like middle stage of like, I feel that pressure cooker of I have the clients to add a staff, but I don't necessarily have the cash flow because of insurance delays, right? So that's a really hard merge to work through. And accountant is super helpful, but at the same time, like, can only guide you so much. So I think like taking a deep dive into that it is an important piece of my personal like company, at least.
And too, like that leads me to think like maybe even breaking it down into steps, like everything else, right? When to grow, like maybe when to add a BCBA. When, and then knowing that when you add a BCBA, then that's going to come with several techs and more clients, know. So maybe even looking at, okay, more in the short term, I need to have my eyes on when can I add a BCBA? And like, because sometimes and that's kind of where I was thinking more big picture grow, but I completely see what you're saying is like, well, when can I add another BCBA so that we can get more clients, right?
Or even just a BT, right? An RBT, like I don't even have that on, like I don't have that currently. So like that's kind of like that pressure cooker, right? Like I think like once and maybe I'm completely skewed in my thought process, but my thought is like, once you have some BTs or RBTs underneath me as a solo BCBA, then like once I hit a certain threshold and I have an X amount of number of kids on the wait list, then I can elevate someone on my team, right? So into a BCBA level. And then from there, of course, add more RBTs, right? So, but just figuring out like those thresholds, I guess, and the criterion for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's that's another, then it's completely subjective, right? Everybody does this a little differently, right? But you may get to a point, and we see many BCBAs do this. Okay, I've got 9 clients right now. I've got maybe 3 techs underneath me, and everything's going well. We have decent cash flow, right? So I've got 4 months of payroll in my account right now. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and hire another BCBA, and they're going to take 7 of my clients, and I'm only going to have 2. And then I'll build my caseload back up while we hire more RBTs at that same time. And then we'll hire another BCBA to take that caseload. So it just depends on how you want to do it, your comfort level, how much money you're willing to kind of expense off on payroll, right? So, but yeah, there's no wrong, there are wrong ways to do this. I should say more costly, less profitable ways to do this. But we want it to be done. We want you to be comfortable with whatever plan we put in place. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, right? You got to be able to put your head on a pillow and sleep at night, right? And like, if you're constantly worried about making payroll, then the client care is also going to go down, right? So like, ultimately for me as a business owner, it's all about that client care. And if the things happen on the back end or above that impact the client care, then we've made a wrong step somewhere, and it needs to be adjusted.